Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light, all light, all light.
Powered by Emery Allen.
Get rid of your excuses.
Your number one source for all things landscape lighting.
That's where the magic can happen. You can really scale a business.
We really had to show up for each other.
From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
You're a scaredy cat salesman, Kurt.
We discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What do you think a hippo has to do with your business, Ryan?
Usually it's some weird childhood thing. Some bully kicked your butt.
I think the key factor here is trust.
Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light, all light, all light. Welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in the world. A little tribute to Eric Turkelson with Holodynamics. We were hanging out a while ago, a couple weeks ago, and when he and I get together, we start doing like radio voice, radio guy, TV guy. It's a lot of fun. He likes to hear himself talk. So do I. So we basically just get together and talk. So a lot of fun. But excited for the show today, you guys. Super excited. This is honestly one of the highlights of my week is the opportunity to hang out here on the podcast, have an amazing guest, and interact with the lighting community. So today we have the one and only Michelle Mueller, co-founder of Garden Light LED. She's an amazing woman, amazing mother, business owner, motivator. She just does a ton of stuff. So I'm super excited to hang out with her. Met her years ago when I started buying their product, but really developed a friendship with her and her whole family. So I've got a different insight into their world, and I'm excited to kind of pick her brain because she's had an amazing journey. So I want you guys to make sure you stick around and be part of the conversation. So excited to have her on. And just as a reminder, I'm going to keep asking for those 5-star reviews. In fact, we recently did a contest. I'm going to well, before I get into that, I'm going to speak at the huge convention. It is August 24th and 25th in Nashville. It's at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel. So I've been to this convention the last couple of years, but I was invited to speak this year, and I'm really, really excited because it's probably going to be the biggest group I've ever spoken in front of, and really excited about that. We're going to be talking about how to get huge profits in your business. Yeah, a little play on words for the huge convention, but excited about that. So make sure you come see me there. But I was giving away some tickets, giving away 4 tickets for the first people that gave me a 5-star review for the podcast. And I've warned people before, it's not easy. Like, it's easy to send someone to Google My Business or, Facebook or whatever for your local business, but it's almost impossible to get reviews for your podcast. So any review I get, I'm always extremely grateful. So thank you guys if you've done that for me, because they don't make it easy. And so we did a contest, and it was cool. We got some more reviews. So thank you guys for doing that. And if you haven't done it, I won't get mad at you for just doing a good thing today. So also, I'm going to put in the comments, basically for our 100th episode that we had a couple months ago, we started a thing. I was trying to get 100 donations for our 100th episode, and we started a GoFundMe for Seva. Seva is an organization that helps blind people see again. It's amazing. For just $50, they do these cataract surgeries, and it's amazing what the gift of sight does for people. You think about it, when people can't see, they can't take care of themselves, they can't go to work, a lot of different things, and it keeps them in poverty. So just the gift of sight changes their world. They can take care of themselves, they can work, and it changes not only their life, but like their legacy, right? So I don't really care how much you donate. It could be $5. We're just looking for 100 people to give a donation. So thank you guys for supporting me in that. And remember, guys, if you want a free strategy session with me, landscapelightingsecrets.com, giving those away to give back as well. So if you're to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm fed up, I'm sick of not being able to grow, I don't know what I'm not doing right, let's get on a Zoom. It's landscapelightingsecrets.com. And I want to thank Emery Allen for their partnership. They have supported us in a lot of different ways, and want to thank them for sure. Honestly, what sets Emery Allen apart? Well, bulbs aside, they believe customer satisfaction should be top priority always. So Emery Allen, they go out of their way to ensure lighting professionals have access to the best light sources built with the highest quality components suited specifically for the landscape lighting industry. At the end of the day, it's what's on the inside that counts. Take advantage of Emery Allen's world-class customer service and get 10% off your first order. All you got to do Listen, if you guys don't know Tom Garber, he's just a nice guy. He's not the best salesperson. He's not the coolest guy hanging out at the clubs, right? But he is a super nice guy. Tom's just a great dude. I love working with him. Just email him, tomg@emeryallen.com for more info. He'll help you get your contractor account set up. And they do discounted contractor pricing, so don't go to their website. A lot of people go to their website and be like, wait, what? No, we're going to hook you up. Just email him and mention you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. He will hook you up. All right, so guys, remember, in just a couple minutes, we've got Michelle Mueller coming on. She has done quite a bit in the lighting industry. She's even written a book. She's put together a new training that came out, I think it was last year. So we're going to talk about that, but amazing, amazing woman. So make sure you stick around. Before we have her on, I want to talk about something real quick. So imagine yourself, okay? Picture yourself in a bottle. You're in this glass bottle. And your whole life, you've been in this bottle, and life is pretty good. You know, you got used to life. You're in this bottle, but you do see others on the outside, and you wonder what it would be like to be them. You know, and it appears to be a better life, but also you're pretty content because you've got food, you got friends. Like your life's not bad. It's actually pretty good. Maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have kids, you got a house, you got the stuff. Not bad, right? But as you get older, you learn that there is a way to get outside of the bottle, and you start thinking, well, how did they get out there? Were they born out there? Like, were they just given that? Like, how do they do that, right? And you learn that the instructions to get outside the bottle are written on the label on the outside of the bottle. So this becomes frustrating to you because you can't read the outside of the bottle, right? And so you find out that the whole time the solution to get out of the bottle was right in front of you, but it's really, really hard to read the label when you're in the bottle. Right now, I didn't come up with this analogy. I can't remember who it was. Their statement was, it's hard to read the label when you're in the bottle. And honestly, that's how really most of us are, not only in our businesses, but in our lives. We only have our perspective of being in the bottle, right? And I've had many mentors, friends, family, all sorts of people give you advice, some better than others, but they're reading the label that you can't. Like training event and first annual Smart Outdoor Conference. And it was the first time that, so I had the opportunity to speak there, and it was great. I love speaking. I love sharing my passion with the industry. But at the end, I decided, you know what? I'm going to make an offer from the stage. I've never done this before. Anyone who knows me knows that the only way to get landscape lighting secrets up until this time was just them reaching out, and then we get on a call and go over it. And if it's a good fit, it's a good fit. If not, it's not. But this was the first time I made an offer to some strangers, like some people I'd never met before, some people I knew. There was probably about 50 people. There was more than 50 in the room. There were 70 or 80 in the room, but I already had a bunch of clients that were there, which was cool. Got to hang out with some clients. And after just 45 minutes, I decided to make an offer from stage. And I was nervous because I'd never done this before. And I don't really know how to do that. I can go close on the spot selling landscape lighting to someone in their house, but this was different. And I had three people take me up on my offer. And it was really cool because these people decided to take a risk that the majority of the others weren't willing to do. Right. And they understood the fact that they were in this bottle, and it was really hard to read the label from inside the bottle. But I was on the outside, and I could just simply read the label and tell them what to do. Right. And that's how I feel as a business coach now. I'm giving someone an outside perspective, right? And even in my business, like I just hired the most, I don't want to say expensive because I don't like that word, but it's the most money I've ever paid an individual coach. It's a ton of money. And that's the reason why, is because I have a full understanding that I can't read the label from inside my bottle, right? And so I think it's interesting. And I was so grateful that these three people, opened up their mind, opened up their heart, and decided to trust me on this journey. But what about the other 47 people that were eligible for this offer that didn't decide to take action? When are they going to have the courage to step up? When are they going to have that understanding that's like, you know what, maybe I don't know what I don't know? And it's not that the people on the outside are any smarter or anything like that. Sometimes my best advice is from people that aren't even as far along in my journey, right? It has really nothing to do with intellect or anything like that. It really is just having that outside perspective. And some people call it devil's advocate or anything like that. It's not even really that. Sometimes it's just having someone ask you a question what you're doing until you figure out the answers yourself. So I want to highly encourage you guys to network with others. There's tons of awesome events out there, and it can get overwhelming. You don't ever want to just go to an event just to feel good that you did something. There's a difference between being busy and productive. But there's a lot of awesome people in the lighting community that are willing to give you time and energy and all that stuff. Encourage you to join a coaching program, and it will change your life. Now, obviously, Landscape Lighting Secrets is here for you. I would love that. But there's other coaches too. Like there's other mentorship programs. Like, of course, I want you to join my program. I'm super passionate about it, and I know that I can help you, right? But having others on the outside to tell us what the label says is so important. So I want to highly encourage you to surround yourselves with others that can help you get unstuck. That's what it's all about. So that's my message today. Go find an accountability partner, go find a group, go find a community that works for you, and you'll be surprised, you guys. I mean, even in my coaching program, yes, I'm proud of the things that I put together and whatever, but more than half the value that people get out of my coaching programs comes from others. It comes from the community and all these different ideas that are coming up on a weekly basis, and the sharing and you get a new person comes in and they get fired up, and it fires up even the veterans and stuff like that. So it's not just one person. Landscape Lighting Secrets really isn't about Ryan Lee. It's about the community. So I want to encourage you guys to look into something different than what you've been doing, because a lot of times we get stuck and we don't know what to do. So I promise you there's others out there that can help you find that solution. So that's it, guys. I think it's time. If you're ready, let me know. I think it's time to welcome our guest. So let's get that music queued up and get our guest coming on. If you're ready, let me know. Welcome, Miss Michelle Mueller. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good now. You just made my day.
Awesome. I'm glad I could.
So glad to have you on here. We had you on maybe a year ago or something like that. And it's probably just going to be an annual tradition, so.
Happy to share.
How have
Happy
you
to
been?
come and hang with you for an hour.
How's your summer going so far?
Summer is awesome. My kids are all home, so I'm laughing inside because I remember going to Italy with you and I introduced myself. I'm in a work environment. This is how vulnerable I'm going to be here today. And I'm like, hi, I'm Michelle Mueller. I'm a mother of 4. I'm like, what an idiot. Okay. Like I could have said something a little bit better than that, but that's what I'm really, really good at, is being a mom. And so I introduced myself like that. But yes, all the kids are home right now. Summer is super busy, but I'm seeing a ton of productivity. We were cracking up the other day because you always share how you started in the window washing business, which might be a popular job for teenagers, I'm thinking, unless it's just TikTok and blowing up. But our son Renzo, who you know is an entrepreneur at heart, and this kid is just like, whether it be fidget spinners when he was 10 years old and Rayto ordering from Alibaba, and him walking around with, cash in his pocket, like stacks. I'm like, oh God, my 10-year-old son's walking around with stacks of cash in his pocket.
I remember that.
Good.
He's selling them.
I think he sold you one, Ryan. But now his new gig is window washing. So it was so cute because Renzo just turned 18. We're looking for schools. So we're going through all the college applications and everything too. So I really don't have a break right now because that's pretty intense. Staying on top of him to make the grades, the SATs, the scores, all that stuff. So he came home with a new idea and he wants to start a window washing company. Well, we had a client in here the other day who was, oh my God, I can't think of the name of his company, but he has the best logo in the world. I'll think of it in a second, but he was in here and he sold his business. And we actually called Rachel, Renzo, we said, get out of bed, come up here right now. We want you to meet somebody. So he came up and the gentleman shared his story and everything. And So Renzo went out, bought the squeegees. I went with him. We went to Lowe's. So we're looking at 22 inchers. We're looking at the poles. You can probably relate, Ryan, right?
Oh, yeah. Like I'm like reminiscing right now. Like I remember this day when I did the exact same thing, how exciting it was.
Yes. So Renzo spent $80 on equipment, went home next morning, told his brother, put your polo on, put a nice polo on. We're going to work. They left at 8 a.m. and came home. And before they left, they started a fight. And I was like, oh God. Renzo's like, you're getting 40. I'm getting 60. I was like, guys, just get out the door. Make it happen. So they left, came back like 8 hours later with a wad of cash. I'm like, what happened? It was success. And so Renzo, such an entrepreneur, he ended up charging Maxim back for half of the equipment. But the ironic thing was Max ended up negotiating with Renzo for 50-50. So it went from 60-40 to 50-50, and Max paid for half the equipment. And I'm happy. I'm like, these guys are amazing.
That's so cool. That's awesome. So they just went, I mean, just decided
Knocking
not
on
to work?
doors. Like your last podcast that you had, I laughed so hard. You had me cracking up. You're like, all the summer door knockers, those are employees.
I
So
know.
you're absolutely right. I kind of steer away from them. I don't answer my front door, but I found a lot of humor in it, and it was great. So yes, my son's knocking on doors, and he's got his pitch down. He's very confident, and now his little brother's involved in it too. They're 18 months apart.
That's so awesome. Well, I think it's cool. I mean, obviously I can relate to it 100%. I wonder if they'll, stick with it and they build this huge empire window cleaning, or if they'll have the epiphany like me, where I'm like, wait a minute, I can do like a $400 job, or I can do a $4,000 lighting job, or a $10,000 or whatever, so it'd be interesting to see.
Renzo's going to make his first million before he's out of college. I guarantee it. He's already stated it. It's happening. The kids, he's so driven, but he's also got that kind heart to stay grounded. So his drivenness is awesome to see, but I also know that it's grounded in faith and all the things that he believes in. Especially like I said, right now we're writing the college essay. So, it's like all heart on deck. We're going through like what's important to you, what experience have framed you, even though he's only 18, but I mean, this kid's like, he's so impressive. And as you said, you do have an interesting perspective because you've spent some time at our house, and actually you used to stay in our house. One time we actually had you and your family in our house, which I don't know if it's ever going to happen again. I'm curious. Is it? Or did Timmy scare you that badly? We locked him up. We were good.
Yeah, he was locked up, but there was this one time, there was 5 seconds where he like brushed my arm, and I thought like that's it. I thought
he breathed on you the wrong way.
Yeah, but you know what? He didn't murder me, so I feel good right now.
Good. Yeah, I think he likes you, Ryan.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that your kids are like that. And Renzo's going to, obviously, I believe it too. He's going to do it. He's got amazing parents. He's got awesome support. Let's talk about that for a second. I mean, at least in landscape lighting and kind of the trades, home service and stuff like that, it's like a male dominated industry. But I love having women like you as leaders to really show us what's possible, because you're able to do like a lot of what the guys can do, but you're also raising these kids like that. To me, that's like this multiplier, right? So how have you been able to manage that? How are you this powerful business leader and such a great mom at the same time?
Well, first of all, thank you for your compliments. I am very humble. I don't feel that I have that influence, but I think that's me just being afraid of that and some of the stuff that I, have to deal with daily. I'm just in my own life and who I am. I do believe that I've been blessed, on all levels to be a part of this industry. We had no idea what we were, creating when we started this. It was really just, a mom and pop type deal. I heard the name Rayto, and I was like, okay, who is this guy Rayto? I got to meet him. And we've grown this business together. So back to the whole point about being influential and making an impact as a woman, I have, my own struggles, as I said. And one of the things that I'm working on right now, for me, it was funny that you said this outside of the box perspective, or outside of the bottle perspective, because as I was taking notes, and you didn't send me any notes, by the way, on what we were going to be talking about today.
Wait, was that part of the deal? Was I supposed to?
Well, I mean, hello, like an impromptu interview here. So we're going to
I
just,
love it.
yeah,
No,
I
I don't
knew
want,
that was coming, because Jan
I don't
told
want
me.
anyone prepared.
Jan said, "What is right? What are right?" I said, "Just Jan, do your thing. He knows who he has on. You're gonna be fine." So, one of my notes is taking a long-term perspective, and I really have a hard time doing this, because a lot of times I'm so affected by the moment, my feeling, something's not right, and as the mother, I'm going, okay, I have all these things that are in front of me, and I can't get outside of that bottle right now. It's sticky and it's heavy. And one of the things that I'm really working on, and it's helping me tremendously. So I want to talk about the spirit of the entrepreneur, male or female. We all have these things. And I think that, as I mentioned to you, not knowing what we were getting into and what we were creating 4 years ago together, my husband Rachel and I,
How many years?
24.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. So Garden Light's been in business for 26 years. We've been together for 24 years. And what I choose to do is take the long-term perspective, but I also want to look at the hard work, commitment, and determination that I have had, and how it affects others, how it's created opportunities for others. We've had, right now, we're a small company, so we're right at about, under 50 employees. But that's 50 families, that's 50 people, that's 50 more people just in my sphere of influence at Garden Light here. And I have to look at that, when I'm having those heavy, sticky moments, I have to really put it in perspective as a long-term view of the people that have benefited and will continue to benefit because of the commitment and everything that we've all put forth.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I totally understand what you're saying, because whether you're talking about parenting or being a business owner or anything, it's like, it's hard to celebrate our wins because we're trying to always get better, that we're kind of focused on, like, well, maybe you've had a ton of wins as a mom, but what about those setbacks where you're like, man, I wish I could have done this better. And if my child makes this decision, is that on me? Like that happens. And it happens in business too. Like, what could my business be? So having that long-term perspective, I think, is huge. That changes everything and allows us to really celebrate who we are as champions, as winners, and not be like, oh, well, can't really do that. There's a book I'm reading right now called The Gap and the Gain, and it talks about this, where we never really celebrate the gain. We're always worried about the gap of, like, we set a goal like, hey, I want to do $1 million this year, and you only get 700. You're like, oh, I only got 700. But the gain was 700. Like that was the gain. Why are we focused on that gap? And the gap is just a hard place to be in. And as entrepreneurs, we all kind of suffer with this.
absolutely.
But no, I love it. So what types of tips would you share to someone? Because, you guys are in manufacturing now, but I know Reto started out at doing, design and installation, but you're able to manage your life. Some days better than others, right? You're able to manage it very good, though. Like, your kids are awesome. Your business is awesome. And by the way, you said your circle of influence is way bigger than 50, because think about all the suppliers that you're buying from.
For sure. I'm just talking about right here. I mean, I agree with you 100%. It's
so big.
I'm thinking right here for Garden Light, for our team, for who we are, what we do, here in Tampa. Every day when I wake up, I am also, of course, in our entire team, and my team is what allows me to have, keep going and facing the fire. I love these guys. I mean, half of our staff has been here. These numbers are staggering, by the way, but I think 50% or near 50% of our staff is women, which is super cool. Very proud of that. these women, as you mentioned, I mean, like we have grit. Like we can fry up the bacon and bring it in the pan, or what is it? I can bring home the bacon and fry
And
it
cook
up
it
in the
too?
pan. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing that. And that's what every single woman in here does. So these ladies have the heart and soul for all the partners that are out there. You know, we're bringing manufacturing back to United States, which we're very proud of. These women in the assembly and production, they care. Like these guys are like putting pieces and parts together all day long, repetition. And, you know, about 45% of our staff has been here longer than 7 years. I've also been very lucky to work with, you know, Luis Kutelink, Bruce Kennison, Mario Casales, Rich Secor, our entire sales team. These guys are awesome. Like these guys go to bat for our customers. They have a recipe. They have a path for success. So I just get to, you know, be a part of a really, really amazing team. And my pointers and my tips to any of your listeners that are out there is, number one, take a long-term perspective and look at the fruits of your labor over decades versus in today. And when you feel stuck and things feel sticky, you know, movement is so important. Move your body, go outside, go, you know, walk around the building, you know, try to snap yourself out of it. And sometimes we can't do that. But, you know, my fire and my passion and everything I do is number one for my family. You know, my kids, I look at them, they're successful, they're happy. They're going to college. I didn't go to college. I went to a college for a very short time. My college was Hard Knocks. And I'm still standing and I'm still here to prove that, you know, you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish with hard work, determination, and commitment. So my team is my fuel, my fire. So for entrepreneurs that are out there that, you know, yeah, you're going to struggle. I can promise you 100%. Everybody thinks it's this lustrous lifestyle, like owning your own business and it's all this freedom, and it's absolutely the opposite. So, you know, I also say to entrepreneurs, like, if you don't have grit, you know, then this is not for you, because it's a lonely path at times. And I have a lot of support and a lot of mentors. You know, I remember, I'm going to bring up a funny story, Ryan. Do you remember? Well, we have a few, like our ski trips, obviously, when, you know.
I love that you're as inappropriate as me. That's the one thing I love about you.
Ryan doesn't fight with
Immature
people.
as me.
Ryan doesn't fight with people. And somebody told him to go pound sand and we're on the slopes. I'm like, dude, like, seriously, we're not near sand.
That was one day that was like one day out of the last, I don't know, 20 years of my life that I wish I was a fighter, because I'm not a fighter. If someone wanted to fight me, they would just pummel me. But that guy was like, I kind of regretted like not fighting him.
I wish you did. I almost punched him in the face. When he was at my house. Should I pause, or because I know I gave you a ton of stuff right there, so we didn't.
We have to pause, because you just said like 14 amazing things, like it was just like nonchalant, like, oh, this, and this. But we got to kind of dissect that a little.
Yeah.
Number one, you talked about your team, because everybody that goes and does like a tour of your facility and meets people, they come out of there, just the tour, like a transformed individual. They're like, holy cow. And they're like taking notes, like, oh, did you see how they did this? And you see how they did this, and their culture and their team. And like you said, like most of your, like 45% of your staff, 50% of your staff is female, and they've been there longer than 7 years, and they're all passionate about it. I mean, when you go to one of your events, like your team talks. So that's amazing. You also mentioned your team. Most entrepreneurs are trying to do way too much by themselves. And then they don't realize, like, yeah, Michelle is amazing, but like you couldn't do all the stuff you're trying to do if you didn't have a team, you know? And that's where most people miss the mark. They're not constantly looking to build their team and replace themselves. And so they take all this stress on themselves, and it's hard enough as it is. And now you have to do the workload of all this. So yeah, your team is amazing.
I want to piggyback on one thing with the team aspect of it. If people are afraid to build a team, I would say it's about authenticity. It's about like, okay, I can't accomplish this if I'm not being authentic. If I'm not being authentic, I'm not following my purpose. My purpose as an entrepreneur is to help others, grow and provide opportunities and, do something big. When we are not authentic and not following our purpose, we lack communication. So it is hard because, sometimes as an entrepreneur, you are coming into the building and you feel like you're stuck or you're sticky or it's hard. And then you have to face your team and, to always have that resilience and that positivity isn't always real. So what I find, really soothing and that helps me is being vulnerable with my team. I've got Luis right next door to me. We've been working together for 14 years. We've done great things together, and we're going to continue to do great things together because he sharpens my sword and I sharpen his. But there's times, I'll walk over there and I'll say, oh my God, like why did I do this? Or I feel so small in this space. And, entrepreneurship doesn't know space or time. That's the one thing that I absolutely know. It's a lifetime. It's everywhere. It's always in you. And that's just my perspective and how I look at it as I continue to mature down my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. No, vulnerability seriously is huge because when you start your own business or you're the leader, the natural tendency is like, we don't have vulnerabilities. We do things the right way. And I know the answer. Just follow me. I'm the leader. Like, don't worry. I got this. But you learn very quickly that you don't know everything. You don't have all the answers, but then it's scary to admit that to someone who's following you. And this whole vulnerability thing, the last 3 years of me doing this coaching thing is insane. The amount of vulnerability that I've discovered about myself, because the secret is like 95% of what I teach is my vulnerability, is like all the stuff that I know what not to do. And it's like, I have to admit that now in front of like a large audience. But the thing is, all my success has come from that. Like people are more willing to listen to someone who's vulnerable than someone who's trying to pretend that they got all their shit together, And so I think it's cool that you mentioned that, because a lot of people are afraid to hire or afraid to grow because they don't think they know all the answers. But that's just it. You don't know the answers, which is why you need to hire, which is why you need to grow, because your team will help you. Like they will support you. They will help you come up with the answers.
Absolutely. And hire people that are better at the things that you're not good at. I have been on a journey also just with, creating strategic plans. And the other funny story that I was going to bring up actually, Ryan, was in 2015, we created this strategic plan for Garden Light. A lot of it wasn't, strategy and yeah, we always had ideas and things like that, but like really getting a strategy on paper. I would say for the lifespan of Garden Light, 2015 was really that year. And that's the year we came out with the master dealer platform and how can we support our partners and how can we add value and solve problems for our partners besides the bright and shiny object that's on the counter. Because this is a relationship-based company. This is always what we've done. We've looked at the entrepreneur and how can we, take who we are as a company, our successes, our failures, and actually help and mentor to prevent new entrepreneurs coming into it from those same mistakes and failures. So in 2015, we created a strategic plan, and part of that strategic plan, and I'm a firm believer on this for all companies, you don't have to have a lot of experience with this. There's simple things that you can do from a strategy standpoint. It's like a SWOT analysis. A lot of people, if you went to college and studied entrepreneurship, you know this. I didn't. So I had to, learn a lot of these things, but that's basically strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that are on yourself, on the environment, competitors, all these different things. So I always recommend for landscape lighting guys and people, guys and girls just getting into landscape lighting, start with your SWOT analysis. That's on yourself. Okay, I'm really good at this. I'm not good at this. This is a threat. This is, a weakness. This is an opportunity. This I know can work. Do the same thing for the environment. So if you are in Salt Lake City, look and see who's in landscape lighting. Look and see what they're doing. Make a phone call, check out their social media, look at their website, call them up. If you haven't actually started your business, call them up and see how they go through their vetting process, how they speak with you, what products they use, what their tactics and approaches are, because you're going to be going up against them. So find out what they're doing. But I'll never forget, Ryan, because you said to me one time when we flew to Dallas, because I had this idea. And the idea was to team up our master dealers with local manufacturer reps. Well, as you know, Garden Light LED does not sell to manufacturer reps. It wasn't a strategy that ever worked because we have a handful of partners that we have throughout the United States. But for some reason, for manufacturer reps, that was always a threat. So do you remember walking into Next Gen together? And I was with you and Justin, and you guys, it came our time and we went in for our lunch and learn. And I was just so new to this too, but I did it for you, and I'll never forget, you looked at me and you said, "Oh my God, don't you get nervous?" And I went, "Yes, Ryan, I get nervous. I get very nervous, but you know what? You're worth it." So I would just say to all entrepreneurs out there, just, keep learning, keep putting yourself out there and get nervous. It's that discomfort that is going to move you and grow you.
I love that. No, I do remember you came in and jammed that. You smashed it. I was like, dang,
I
Michelle,
didn't think I did.
she's got it together. And you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing. No, it was way good. But I love it because it honestly is, like I always say, keep moving forward, because you're always going to get stuck. You're always going to feel like I'm not prepared, whatever. And
Right.
you just got to take action. And that, honestly, I look at the successful people like you and Reto are like, mentors to me. And what are you guys doing? Well, you're constantly moving forward. Does everything work out like you want? No, it doesn't. But that doesn't hold you back. That just helps you succeed faster. You fail fast and you pivot and you do what works. So most people don't have that ability. Most people don't have the ability to take a risk. And then I question, like, should they even be an entrepreneur? Because somewhere in the definition of an entrepreneur should be the word risk. Like the most successful ones are taking the most risks and figuring out what doesn't work faster so they can work on the things that they want to work on.
Yeah. It's always changing and it's never what you expect. That you can count on.
How have mentors affected you in your life?
Gosh, Ryan, I have, I've been so lucky. Going back to, marriage and having 4 kids and starting a family really quick. And we got really lucky. We had Craig and Mary Peterson, who own Northwest Outdoor Lighting, living next door to us. And they were married for 30 years, had 4 kids. And, we were newbies at this. And we also worked together since day one. And so talk about mentors. Those are the first 2 that come into mind. And, we went all the way from putting a rock in his hand and a rock in my hand and going from like wanting to scream to the world. And we called them round table discussions. So we'd call Craig and Mary, "Get over here now." And they'd come running
That's
over
awesome.
and listen to our junk, right? It was just like, well, he doesn't, and everything would be perfect. And I thank God for them today because, we probably wouldn't have been together if we didn't have that support system. So that's one mentor team that comes into mind.
No, that's amazing. No, that's amazing. And like they were like next door neighbors of you guys.
Yeah.
So it's like they were coming over like every night, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. And a lot of, raw, pure, and we felt comfortable. That's the big thing I'd also say about when you get a mentor, you got to be vulnerable. You got to feel comfortable. So we were comfortable enough to let them in. We knew we needed them. And so I'm going to spin it back to landscape lighting. So Mary, started her landscape lighting business here in Tampa, and Craig really didn't want to do landscape lighting. He was in the energy business, but she saw what we were doing. And so that's how your mentor relationship, they gain stuff from you as well. So Mary's watching us through this entrepreneurial journey, the struggles and all that stuff. And then she's like, wait a second, I want to do lighting. And that's one of the things, like with the kids, like, have we created an environment enough that's, no, we're not going to give them the landscape lighting, manufacturing business, but have we come home at night to inspire and also to create that interest that they actually would want to? That's something I've always been conscious of. Even when it's hard, like I'm coming home, am I going to come home like a Debbie Downer, or am I going to come home to their beautiful smiles and then regain my resilience to go back out and do it again? So back to Craig and Mary. Craig and Mary started their landscape lighting company. They've now built 2 very successful landscape lighting companies. It's a legacy business. They're all their children are working for them, literally, except one. They have 4 children. Jenny's married somebody at Microsoft, so she's having kids and being a mom and doing that very important job. But start a landscape lighting business, have all their kids working for them, and even the grandkids. So very cool mentors there. I'll pause, but I have a couple. We'll go to business mentors next. But
well, that was what I was going to ask you. But I do want to pause for a second, because I've had you introduce me to them, so we've had the opportunity to hang out, and I'm not surprised that God put them in your life, and it really is like a mutually beneficial relationship, because they've mentored you, you've mentored them. They're good people, so that's awesome. So all right, that's like your personal mentor.
Yes.
What about from a business standpoint? Who's the other?
I'm a big believer in mental health. I think now people are talking about it more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Rato and myself, and he won't mind me speaking for him, we have both been in therapy. Fortunately, our business coaches and psychologists, whatever you want to call them, I don't even care. They are business focused. So, it always goes back to, how are you able to affect and how are you able to be effective as an entrepreneur through all these struggles? So I would definitely recommend therapy.
I'm with you 100%. And actually, I've attended. I've been in town, and Rachel's like, "Hey, come with me." So I was he's like, "Hey, this is your session. You can ask him whatever you want." I was like, "Sweet."
Awesome. So you met Bill Anton.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So Bill Anton owns CEO
Effectiveness.
CEO Effectiveness. And Bill's in his 80s, believe it or not, but he looks like he's, literally 70. But the work that they have done and what, I attribute a lot of our success to being able to work through a lot of those things. So mentorship, obviously therapy, and, CEO Effectiveness. You can look that up if you're an entrepreneur that's listening, but we always do try to, when we host events, we try to kind of bring that, into the conversation, because some people think they don't need it, but one day they may, and we feel like it's impacted us so positively that we want to help. So that's one.
That's amazing. I actually didn't know we would kind of go this route on this discussion, but I'm really glad, because most people don't realize, like, to be successful, you're not going to do it on your own, whether it's your team of team members that you're paying to like do things and stuff like that, or therapists, psychologists, mental health experts. Like, there's a lot. I mean, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves as leaders, as parents, as spouses, and stuff like that. So Lindsay and I have been in therapy. I'm a strong proponent of having also like a network, a community that you can be vulnerable with. So like it is just what it is, guys. It used to be like people would be afraid to talk about mental health, but in the past few years, now we can talk about it. And now it's a little bit more comfortable. Like, okay, I'm more likely to be vulnerable. Still, a lot of people don't want to admit, well, I needed help or whatever. But the people that are killing it, the people that are successful, they all have help in one way or another.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was at your house one time. I don't know if we were staying there. I think we were just stopping by or something like that, but it might have been when we were staying there. And it was like at 8 o'clock at night. You're like, all right, well, I got to go. I'm like, where are you going? You're like, oh, I'm going to do a demo. And I'm like, what? What are you doing? You're going to do a demo. And you went out and did a demo that evening. And I knew like that you had done some, here and there, some designs or some projects or whatever. But it seemed like I didn't know how serious you were taking that. I mean, you're out there till like 11 o'clock and doing demo and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the side, like how you land these projects and what you're doing.
Oh, as a lighting designer, which is something that I've really been, trying to educate myself on probably over the past, and I've had a lot more exposure to those opportunities, which is why I'm like, this is hard and I better get good at it because I'm getting phone calls. So, obviously my day-to-day is, mother first, wife first. That's my priority there. And then, Garden Light and, working with our team here, but then of course doing some lighting designs when I have referrals. So if somebody that I've worked with, some of my clients here for Garden Light will call me to help with lighting design. I do love those opportunities, but I'm going to be really honest with you and vulnerable right now, Ryan. I don't know. Sometimes my lighting designs suck.
That's
I'm
awesome.
sorry. They're getting better,
That's so good. That's why I saw you at Illy. You were trying to improve on the design. I love it.
I'll never be the woman that recites, like Jan. And rolling into my next mentor, I met Jan. She was one of the first books that I read on landscape lighting when I met Reto 23 years ago, because the landscape lighting book was published in 1993. Thank God. But the funny thing is, he handed me this book, and it was like Janet Lennox Moyer's book. This is in 2000, and I'm like, so I'm reading through. I'm like, I can do landscape lighting, no big deal. And that's where I always had that book next to me, and if I needed to know something, fortunately, I was more on building other entrepreneurs and on the sales side, which is still something that I'm doing a lot. So the landscape lighting design, Ryan.
It needs some work. Hey,
it can be really good, but then sometimes I'm just like, oh man, what was I thinking with that one? And you just have to be okay with that. So
what do you do in that situation? Like, when did you notice that, like, okay, that wasn't the best? Was it a client telling you, or they thought it was awesome and you told yourself, or how was it?
Never tell the client. Never tell the client. Do their lighting because they're going to love it. But doing it at the level that Jan does it, and just what I've learned and what I know after reaching out to her in 2015 and becoming friends. She's one of my best friends. We filmed Learn Nightlight together. That was a trip. I mean, she met us. She came to Tampa, and we did this whole strategy and vision session. And I was like, I want to get people of influence, and meet them and hopefully do these great things with them. And so we did this really cool kind of strategy session when she came in. And then she also saw me being a mom, because I was doing like the volleyball thing and jumping through hoops on all levels. And so we formed this really strong bond. But when she left here, she said, I have an idea and how I can help. And she literally wrote and recited hundreds of pages on critical topics on landscape lighting. And I did watch the show when she was on with you, and it was hilarious because you are absolutely, it's on page 146. It's the third paragraph in the second sentence. And I'm kidding you not, Ryan. We went through this. So we filmed the first 10 session together. I did the intro for Learn Nightlight, and then Jan did her, 20-minute video on that topic. And these are topics like composition, views from the garden, inside looking out. They're all, lighting sculptures, lighting water, you name it. 20 critical topics. So we did the first 10, and then we, as we started producing it, I'm like, we need workbooks. Every session has to have a workbook, Jan, because right now you just have the video. So we developed it together, but the content obviously is just, every time I was going through the workbooks with her, she'd say, somebody changed that word. She would know exactly. And
I wouldn't have said that. I didn't say that.
We did it for 20 sessions, and, I cherish that time that I had with her. I learn every single day. She's somebody I can pick up the phone, and you want to talk about a mentor, and I have to be vulnerable with her because I can look pretty stupid, if I'm hanging a deck light on the top of the fence, and then, she comes and sees that, she's going to say, well, what, you went through the 20 courses. How come you're still hanging deck lights at the top of the fence and it's a glare bomb? So, you got to be vulnerable. And, Jan is also, she's extremely intellectual, but also she's very playful and fun. So the fact that we became friends and that I have that vulnerability with her, my opportunities have obviously they've escalated. I mean, getting into, working in specifier market, working on some really amazing properties. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have the confidence, if I didn't have the confidence and the language to be able to say those words. They may not always come out like Janet Lennox Moyer, and I can promise you they're not.
They're not.
Close. Darn it. But my vocabulary has improved.
Do you remember at Illy, you could volunteer to present. Some people didn't want to, whatever. Listen, you could put me in front of anybody on any stage right now, and I could just talk about pricing, sales, and marketing. No preparation. I love it. It's easy for me. Like, it just flows. Talking about lighting design in front of Janet Lennox Moyer and all those other amazing mentors and stuff like that, that was intimidating. Talk about vulnerability. I'm like, yeah, I want to do it because I want to have this exercise. And it actually went worse than I thought. I was like, oh my gosh.
Mine too.
She's correcting me.
Really bad. And I, did my typical thing where I'm like, God, why? How did you do that? And, I'm just way too hard on myself. And the more I can say that and the more I can recognize that, the more success that every single person around me will have, and also myself.
Yeah. No, it was a good experience. Yeah, she stopped me mid-presentation and corrected me several times. I thought, this is the ultimate Illy experience right here. I definitely got what I paid for. That's what I wanted. Yeah. So vulnerability is key, man. It's honestly it is the key to growth. So a lot of people that are feeling stuck, it probably comes down to their vulnerability.
It's very hard to be vulnerable because then we open ourselves up for pain, disappointment, but it's not always about that. It's not always painful.
No, but that's the fear. Is like, well, I don't want to be vulnerable because it's going to be painful and whatever. But like you said, it's not. I mean, there's a quote like, most of the stuff we're worried about, we're stressing about, never happens anyway. Something like that. I don't know what the exact quote is. It sounds way better than I just made it sound. But most of the stuff we're worried about never happens anyway. And so we don't know what vulnerability is going to feel like. And it's the unknown. And what if it hurts? And what if it's painful? But man, it's honestly the way to growth. So what do you see? You guys have a lot of customers. You've dealt with, thousands of people over the years. Is there a common trend that you see most lighting professionals struggling with? Where do they get stuck? What types of things are they struggling with that you guys try to help them get unstuck with?
I would say a consistent struggle that I see for entrepreneurs is scaling the business. And, we've always recommended a really great book, which is E-Myth Revisited. That's by Michael Gerber, and that's the entrepreneurial myth. And what that is, it's like you said, generally the entrepreneur side of us is this visionary, dreamer, all of these, character qualities that we have to have the resilience. But we don't know how to allocate and how to delegate and how to, grow. And also we sometimes don't see the bigger picture of being able to provide opportunities, like thinking of your business as a catalyst for opportunity, right? Yeah, of course, for yourself, but you're able to influence other people when you can help them realize their full potential, get over challenges and hurdles, create a culture, create a business that, is focused on culture and quality of life for people that join your team. And I think that's really scary for a lot of people, of letting go. So the biggest thing that I would say over and after working with thousands of entrepreneurs, maybe not thousands, maybe 1,000, is letting go. Letting go.
It's huge. Honestly, I could say, yeah, honestly. So Reto was the one. He actually, it was either audiobooks didn't exist or he was too old to know what they were, because he got me E-Myth on a CD. You remember that? He used to have like a bunch of copies and he'd hand them out. So he gave me the CD, and I'm listening to E-Myth in my truck as I went from job site to job site. That was like the catalyst. That was literally like, what the hell am I doing? Because I was at a stage in my life where, we had a bunch of young kids. Lindsay's trusting me to run this business. I was providing financially, but I was also working crazy hours. So no one was really happy. And that's when I was starting to question, should I even keep doing this? Should I just go get a job? Like, what is the point of my life? This is not fun anymore. It was fun for the first couple of years, but now, like, I don't know what I want to do. So then you read that book and it was like, oh, okay. Now this is making a little bit more sense now. I don't have to be the manager, the technician, all this stuff. And that was eye-opening for me. It helped me shift gears and start looking at my business as a business instead of as like being self-employed,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was huge. So let's talk about a couple things before we wrap up. You mentioned Learn Nightlight. You built that with Jan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about what is it? Who's it for? And yeah.
Okay. So Learn Nightlight is it's a landscape lighting course. That's actually a learning platform. It's available on the IES. There are 20 sessions on critical topics, as I mentioned. So creating a sense of depth. I'm going to read because I don't have them memorized right now. Composition elements, sculptures, plant material, view from the windows, lighting waters, anything that, what I love about it. So if anybody has her book, The Art of Landscape Lighting, which is the latest one, it's all broken out by topics. So if you're like, struggling one day and, how do I do downlighting? So downlighting is also a subject topic. How do I do downlighting? You can go right to downlighting. So it's a landscape lighting learning platform. It's available on the IES. It's 20 critical topics. And like I said, you can Google it and find it on the IES website. So IES.org, and then just type in Learn Nightlight.
Yep. Cool. So, and then how long is each session?
5 minutes to 25 minutes. And they all have a downloadable workbook and a video to read along with. And that's what I definitely recommend. I recommend you download the workbook, have that, with you for your notes. And then there's also 20 CEU credits. So the CEU credits are recognized by the IES, the ASLA, and the AIA. So if you're affiliated with any of those 3 organizations, those 20 CEU credits will transfer throughout. There are quizzes. There's 10 quizzes for 20 sessions. So that means there's 200 quiz questions. They're not easy. Jan and I also wrote that together as part of the production of this. So, like I said, as we were evolving this thing, we filmed it, we edited it, we did the videos and the workbooks, and then created the quizzes. So it's pretty comprehensive, and it's the feedback that we've gotten from it. Hundreds of people have taken it, is very positive. So I would say if you want to learn about landscape lighting, and you're learning from somebody, there's music to it, so it's very interactive. It's not boring.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I like that it's, it's part of the Illuminating Engineering Society, the IES. So it's going to have exposure to other fields, landscape architects and things like that, specifiers.
Absolutely.
So this could be a great introduction. I mean, you could use it in your own market to say, hey, I've studied under Jan Mueller through the Learn Nightlight course. Like it's gonna open up doors for people as well.
For sure. Absolutely. And your vocabulary gets better, your understanding of what you're doing. And again, it's not always going to be perfect, but it will improve. I promise. You are going to learn so very much. And I would also recommend getting her book and carrying that book and showing it to your customers, because especially the latest one, The Art of Landscape Lighting, it's a visual guide, but it's also by topic. So it's in line with Learn Nightlight. And it just would be a great companion for anybody that wants to really take landscape lighting seriously.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you did that, Learn Nightlight. I'm still amazed at what Jan's been able to do. Like those books are just insane. And then you got Illy. And so I think it's awesome that you're able to help her out and be part of Learn Nightlight. That's killer.
I love it. It was an amazing journey, and we just are so happy with the result, and also to be able to be friends. And she's actually going to stay at our house for Dealer Congress, our little boot camp that we have coming up.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. Let's talk about that.
We'll have to lock Timmy in the bathroom. It won't be you, Ryan, that Timmy's breathing and looking at funny.
Timmy likes Jan. Timmy doesn't like Ryan.
Nah.
Okay,
Timmy.
let's talk about the next Garden Light Dealer Congress Bootcamp, September 12th and 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right dates? That's what I got on my calendar.
Yes, that is the right date. Absolutely. Yeah, I know. You're going to be here, so make sure
Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there?
Janet Lennox Moyer is going to be here. Ryan Lee from Landscape Lighting Secrets is going to be here. Our team, Bruce Kennison, Luis Kutelink, Mario Casales, and of course our support team, our sales assistants, Michelle Mueller, our engineers. It's going to be a boot camp. So Ryan, it's going to be hot, and it's going to be long hours, and it's going to be super intense. But anybody that comes, they're going to learn from the very best. I mean, you've got Ryan here with his playbook. We still need to talk about what you're going to talk about.
I already know. I'm bringing. You said it's going to be hot there. I'm bringing the heat. It's going to get hotter when I show up.
Okay. What are you talking about, Ryan?
Listen, it's so important for me when people show up that they have actionable items that they can like write down and get home and change how they're doing things. So
I love it.
I'm not going to give it all away, but they're going to walk away going, holy cow, I just got like $100,000 worth of value. So that's my goal. And then on top of that, you still have all the stuff that your team's going to do, and everything that Jan's going to do. So it's going to be insane.
It is. And, we did the last one here at the factory, which was awesome. And we're going to start here because Jan needs, for her presentation, she needs things to be dark. But we're actually going to be then transported over to, as a team, as a group. So there's only 20 seats, by the way, Ryan. And I think we only have 5 seats left. But, that's it.
I haven't even started promoting it yet.
Just start promoting it, and I'm sure we'll see what will happen. But we made a change to the agenda, and we've decided to host the event at the Tampa Garden Club, or I should say they're hosting us, which we're really grateful for.
And only 20 people. What if I say there's 30 that want to come?
Do you think I would ever say no to people that want to learn and come?
All right, so go. But the point is, you got to get your ticket. And where do they get it? Just on gardenlightled.com?
Yes. So go on to gardenlightled.com and you'll see Dealer Congress Bootcamp. And for now, it's kind of buried, I think, somewhere on like the events. We're going to be posting it up, and it'll be on the front page soon, but it should be on one of the sliders as well. But anybody can call Garden Light LED and ask for myself, Luis, Mario, or Rich. We're all here every single day, and we're here to serve and support. So if somebody is interested in attending the event, it is a 2-day event. It is long hours. We will definitely have over 10-hour day the first day. And you will be able to hang out with Janet Lennox Moyer, Ryan, Lee, and our team. So we're excited to have you, and hopefully you join us.
And what are some of the things on the agenda? Are we doing hands-on? I mean, obviously with Jan there, we're gonna get like a bunch of design stuff. And by the way, Jan told me that like this Illy in November is gonna be like her last one that she's committing to. She might go to or others, but she just said, "Listen, I'm getting older. I'm not gonna be able to do this stuff." So there's only a limited time where if you want to hang out with Jan Moyer, Garden Light's also gonna be one of the last times. Not that she's gonna never go out in public or anything, but she travels a ton. So
For sure.
yeah, come for her. But then we're also gonna talk about you're gonna do like hands-on installation as well.
Yeah, so we are actually doing a permanent installation on day 2. And day 2 is all about core drilling, concealing wires, lighting design. So Jan obviously is going to be doing a presentation on day 1. You will also, Ryan. But these mentors are going to be with the attendees for the full time. So they'll be able to just have normal conversations, hang out with you, hang out with Jan, ask questions, actually do a landscape lighting installation. And this property is just, like I said, it's stunning. It's a Tampa landmark. It's the Tampa Garden Club. It's on Bayshore Boulevard. We've got the downtown Tampa skyline behind us. And I think we're going to end up just staying on that property and bringing breakfast, lunch, and dinner there because we want to get as much as possible with you and Jan and in the field, real practical.
Yeah. Awesome. So cool. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's September 12th and 13th. Call Garden Light. Go to the website. Do what you got to do. I want to see you there.
Yeah, we will cap out. I mean, we do have about 30 rooms, I think, at the current hotel in Tampa, which is also a beautiful location. And we would have other places to put some other people. Not my house.
Yeah. You heard it. Timmy's waiting. Timmy's waiting for open invite at the Muellers.
people are like, "Why do you have a dog like that?" I'm like, "Because I have 4 kids and I don't want anybody to try to get in my house. He'll kill them."
There's one house in Tampa you don't want to go into. I know which one it is.
No one's ever tried.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. I feel like we covered everything. Did we cover everything that you want to cover?
Absolutely. I talked a lot. I'm sorry. I just got really fired up.
No, this was awesome. My goal is to get my guests to talk, and you did an amazing job. So that was awesome. Okay, guys. Thank you again, Michelle. That was awesome. I just appreciate you as a person, our friendship, just being around you is always awesome. So I'm looking forward to that in September, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys have not, a lot of people have gotten their tickets already, but if you have not and you want to be a part of it, if you have any questions, you can ask me, reach out to me, reach out to Garden Light and ask questions, but we'll be there the second week of September. So really looking forward to that. Thanks again, Michelle. I really appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. You guys have an awesome week. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you.